Breaking news, crime is skyrocketing in Angler Creek, with a 200% jump in crime in the last 12 months. Here we are today with a local citizen who was at the scene of the crime last night. Marcus, how are you feeling right now?
It was crazy. This guy was selling lemonade without a permit. I mean, can you believe it? In our town, someone needs to solve this now.
You're right, Marcus. And did you know, since the town was founded, a police station has never been built in Angler Creek? Don't you find that concerning?
Yes, I mean, seriously. Who's running this town? Nothing makes sense around here. Buildings just plop in and out. They look old, but I swear, that was an open field over there just yesterday.
Yes, very worrying times indeed. Will someone step up and end this crime crisis once and for all? Next up on Angler News, local man has been seen walking around the neighborhood with 12 dogs. That's just too many dogs.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Angler Creek. Let's go ahead and place down our police station, just get that out of the way. While I was building, I noticed we were getting a ton of crime and I thought, I never built a police station on the map, so let's go ahead and place it. I really like this urban police station. This is going to serve both of our towns, so I think having a larger station would make sense, and most likely this could double as a courthouse or something like that. Right now we're getting to work on the supermarket here. If you watch some of my older videos, you'll notice this is the same brand of supermarket that is in Angler. I thought some continuity would be nice. Maybe this is a regional supermarket chain. The one in Angler is definitely more of a smaller grocery store, whereas this one is definitely more the size of a supermarket. We're going to be giving this a nice big parking lot and some gas stations off to the side. It seems like a lot of the big supermarkets I've seen also have attached gas stations, so I thought that would be a nice touch. Here I am still making good use of all of the new decals from the new pack I downloaded. I've been trying to reel it in a bit because it is pretty easy to just make everything look super run down and messed up, but I want to have a balance, so I've been trying to hold myself back a bit on placing some of these decals. Some of you have been asking where you can find them. Right now, they're still in development, so they're only available on Sully's Discord server, but the mod developers do plan to release them to PDX mods at some point. I'm not involved in the creation of the assets, so I can't give an estimate on when that'll be on PDX mods, but I'll definitely let you all know when they're officially uploaded. I'm really enjoying the way this Full of Foods mart is turning out. Let me know what you think in the comments, if you like the continuity of having the same chains pop up around the region. Now we're placing down those gas stations that I was talking about earlier. I just recolored them so they have the same color scheme as the Full of Foods mart. I think they just add a lot to incorporating the build into the space. I feel like I've been to a place like this in the past on a road trip or something. It feels very familiar even though it's fictional. We've got several different roadside decals and I'm just kind of experimenting with them, seeing how I can splice them together to make new and interesting patterns, making the ground all varied and interesting to look at on the outskirts here near the key walls. I really like this little dirt one here that we got next to the walls. That one just looks super realistic to me. I think I really enjoy that one being in the corner there. And we're just placing down some trees just to fill it out a little bit. Maybe the trees might be a little bit too uniform. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about that. But I'm just gonna add some bushes to this wall here. Just do some finishing touches. There's not too much to do around here after this. I think I'm gonna add some props and stuff on the front of this building here, but there's just some light detailing for the most part. You know, you don't need to cram a supermarket with too much stuff. Kind of one of the things about supermarkets is that there's going to be like a lot of empty space outside, you know, a lot of empty sort of wasted space, I suppose you could say. So, you know, there is sort of that give and take between areas that you really want to pack with a ton of stuff and then some areas where you specifically want it to be a little bit more empty. I found this really nice little cobblestone pattern, so I started placing that all over the place. I'm having to be careful not to make it look weird on the edges here because it's not perfectly rectangular, but I think I did a pretty good job. Sometimes the decals will creep up the walls there, and I'm trying my best to keep that from happening, but sometimes it does, and I'm just going through and placing some props to kind of cover that up in some of the areas. Also just like, you know, placing some props. A lot of the times, you know, when you go to a supermarket like this, there's just a bunch of stuff outside out the front, you know, for some reason. I try my best to do like a little garden center there, you know. A lot of the times they'll like have like plants and stuff being sold outside the front of a supermarket, so I figured I'd replicate that. Now we're just going in and filling up the place with a bunch of trees. You know, I was doing screenshots of the farmer's market. You might have noticed that there were trees in the thumbnail, but there were not trees in the video. And that's because I was taking the thumbnail pictures and I was like, man, you know, I cleared this whole place out so I'd have a clean slate to work on, but it kind of just looks a little bit bad with it being so empty around here. I was like, I'm going to be working on this for a while, so I might as well just go through and put some trees down to at least fill out some of the empty space. I think it makes the place look a lot nicer for the time being. You know, I can always remove the trees when I get ready to build somewhere, so I don't think it's too big of a deal, and I think it definitely makes the place a little bit more nice to look at. Here we're just doing a little bit of a strip mall. So I wanted to do this sort of core, this very center of the town. I wanted to have just commercial and then things like government buildings like the police station here. So we're going to be having some commercial blocks here in the middle. They're not all going to be strip malls per se, but they will be commercial. And then sort of on the outskirts, we're going to have some residential. We're going to have some more row houses and some more of those motel buildings, which I'm trying to get converted into residential buildings. Having some issues with the editor, but I think I'll be able to figure it out nonetheless. And then, you know, on the outskirts, we're going to have our suburbs, obviously. So we're going to start going into single family housing sort of on the outskirts. Now, the footprint of this town, I think is going to be pretty large. I think I want this to be probably the largest town in the region, at least for the time being. You know, who knows what we'll come up with in the future. But for right now, I want this to be sort of the centerpiece of the whole region. So this town is going to have quite a big footprint whenever we're done with it. We've got a lot of flat space, a lot of empty space around us that we can work with. So I think this is going to turn out really nice, and we're going to be able to make a lot of really interesting builds in this area. Here now we're just working on this row house district off to the side here, just doing some minor detailing. I'm actually going to be replacing the sidewalk there with just a surface sidewalk, which I think is going to look a lot better. I did these sort of brick sidewalks that I think are going to give a lot of character to this block. So you'll see that here shortly. That's something that I'm trying to do with these sort of blocks that we're making in this new town, is that I want every single street or every single block to have, you know, its own character. So whenever you're walking around the town, you can kind of tell where you are. Like if you were in first person mode, I have the first person mod, and sometimes I'll walk around in first person to just kind of see if my detailing is up to par. You know, if it looks good in first person, that means that I did a good job, you know. But so whenever you're walking around the town, I want, you know, every single block or every single street to kind of have its own identity, as streets do in real life. You know, a lot of the times you'll be able to, you know, tell where you are just based off of sort of the identity of the street that you're on. So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to give everything its own sort of unique flair. And so on this block here, I've got these nice sort of square brick paved paths with this sort of grass texture that came with that pack that I downloaded recently. So it's not just decals that are in that pack. There are some surfaces as well. And the surfaces are quite nice, actually. I used that brick surface on the main boulevard there. That was part of the pack. These little, all of this stuff that you're seeing here in this area, I'm using are part of the pack. I really like these grass textures. If you watch some of my older videos, I know I spent a decent amount of time complaining about the grass textures that ship with the game. And I'm really enjoying being able to have these grass textures that have an air of being manicured, but they're also just a little bit more rough and varied. They look like sort of real grass and not some weird, you know, turf or just painted green. Here I'm putting down some fences, and I'm trying to keep the fence color the same throughout. I'm using the net lanes for the fences, so I can't actually recolor the fences once I put them down. I'm not sure if that's going to be able to be something that they can fix later. The net lanes are really convenient to use, and they're all just in their own section and stuff like that. So I really like using them, but I might just have to start using the prop versions instead, with the color variations being wrong a lot of the times. And there's some fences where it's not as noticeable, and then there's some fences where it is really noticeable, and it's quite bothersome. So I'm gonna have to keep working on that. A lot of times though, I can just sort of place them down over and over again until I get the color I want, like I did there. And then I can get a uniform fence color. So it just depends on how I'm feeling. But I think I need to either figure out how to get those net lanes fixed, or I need to start using the prop version so I can recolor them. Here I am now just doing some more backyards. We've been doing a lot of backyards recently with a lot of these row house districts. I really enjoy doing these backyards, especially with all these new ground decals that we have. Just kind of doing just a standard passover and put some lawn furniture down, you know, some dog houses, some grills, some little umbrellas and stuff, you know, maybe some people want some shade. We got some hot tubs and everything like that. Just kind of, you know, just the normal things that, you know, you'd find in a backyard. So we're just doing some bushes, you know, gotta have some privacy bushes, you know, there's a lot of people around, you know, I'm sure that fence is kind of short, you know, so you'd obviously want, like, you know, some bushes and trees to give some sort of privacy in your backyard whenever you're chilling, reading a book or something like that. Now we are just doing the second set of backyards here on the other side. And these are just pretty simple, you know, just like the other ones. You know, we're just going to place some ground textures, some little props and stuff, and call it a day, really. Do some bushes. A lot of these bushes are going to get deleted because I am going to be building a little backlot right here in this little alleyway here. So it's kind of an awkward little area, but I figured I think it would look really nice if we did a parking lot here, and then the parking lot went into a alleyway in the back. So we're going to do that. Just gonna delete all these ground surfaces here. Don't need them anymore. We're gonna be getting in here with a nice little alleyway. I like how these grass surfaces can blend between concrete. I know it's not always gonna be that way, you know, especially with something that's been poured recently. There's definitely gonna be a very specific line between where the concrete ends and where the concrete begins. But in certain areas like this, you know, where, you know, things have been placed down for a while, you're gonna start getting some grass that it's overgrown, you know, and growing through the concrete cracks and stuff like that. And so I like being able to add these little textures that just kind of blur the line between the end and the beginning of the concrete a little bit more. I think it just adds a little layer of realism to the whole thing that looks really nice. So we did our little parking lot. That was pretty quick. Now we're just going over the back area here, which I placed some little decals just to make the concrete a little more interesting, some cracks and stuff. I think I'm gonna place some trash cans in here and some trash props to just kind of get this whole place looking a little bit more detailed. I really do like these trash props. They just add so much, and they're so convenient how they just come in little piles and you don't have to place each individual trash prop individually. Although I would like that. That would be nice if I could just get like one prop that's just like a little cardboard box that's been opened up, and like one prop that's like a soda can, you know. That would be pretty sweet. But it is convenient having it in the little bundles like it is. So now that we're done with that, I think we're just going to put, you know, some grass and some trees and stuff on this little area here for now. I think having little areas, you know, where it's just going to be grass and stuff is fine. But let me know if you have any suggestions for that little corner there, maybe that we could put something there. I'm just doing a couple of extra passes over on the sort of strip malls that we've got going on here. Just making sure that everything's nice and detailed up. Got to do the roads as well. Definitely trying to get an even amount of detail throughout everything. And so, you know, I'm just trying to make sure that I go through everything multiple different times and make sure I'm not missing anything. Sometimes it's easy. You know, you'll tunnel vision on one thing and then you'll realize, oh man, I just like completely just left this whole area just completely undetailed, you know? And so sometimes, you know, you just got to go over things multiple times and come back and see, okay, well, I'm going to work on this area now a little bit more. So just getting some stain decals put down, you know, it's part of the process. Part of one of the layers that we got to put down is a little bit of stainage, you know, you don't want things to be too clean. These been around for a while. It's near a body of water. There's going to be, you know, a certain layer of grime to everything. Now here we're just finishing up a little bit of the decal work on the street next to the police station. Nothing fancy here. I was kind of struggling a little bit with how I wanted to do this, but I think I figured it out. Just have some like sort of sidewalk surfaces here, and then I have just some cracked pavement. I think I tried to make like a little like makeshift sidewalk here by placing both of these. And then just going through it with a little stain surface. The stain surfaces are really convenient. I used to place a bunch of stain decals, but then I started having some corruption because I placed too many stain decals. So you definitely have to watch out for that. And the surfaces help with lowering that decal count as well. But that's going to be it for today. If you're still watching, I want to thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked the video, I would appreciate a like. And if you want to see more, consider subscribing. I'll see you all in the next one.